Copperhead Strike is the new for 2019 Mack Rides Multilaunch coaster located at Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina. And recently, a few weeks ago, I got the chance to experience this coaster for the very first time, so today I'll be reviewing it, going through the layout, talking about it, what I like and dislike with the ride, and give it a final score out of 100 at the end of the video. Alright, so you're going to come out of the station and straight into one of my favorite parts of the ride, and that is the JoJo roll. This is a really slow Heartline roll, and you go through it pretty much with just the dispatch speed. So you get great hang time. You actually get some good laterals because you're kind of hanging slowly to the side, and it's really cool in the lap bars. It's not the only JoJo roll out there. There is another one on Hydro, the Revenge of Dory Park, but that one does have all the shoulder strength, so this one is going to be a bit better. And then you're going to turn right, and then you're going to go into your show building, which kind of explains the story and the theming and stuff. It's kind of confusing, but it's whatever. Then you're going to launch out. It's a 0 to 42 mile per hour launch. It's actually better than what I expected. It wasn't as forceless. It's not intense, but it gives a bit of a nice push to it on the launch, especially if you're in the front row. So it's overall pretty fun acceleration. Then you're going to go into your second inversion. First inversion after the launch, which is the vertical loop, or first of two vertical loops on the ride, and it's pretty fun. You definitely get some good push through it. The bottom and top moments of it are sort of like coming in and out of the inversion in the front row. The other rows are pretty good in this vertical loop, but the front you definitely get pushed through it. It's really pretty forceful. Get some good hang time at the top. Overall, really fun. You're going to go into this nice, somewhat sustained ejector mode, but not super sustained. But it's definitely pretty fun. You pop right out of your seat to a fairly whippy corkscrew to the right, which is pretty good. Then you go into a couple turns here, which are pretty good. Nothing too special, but they're fun. Then to a really good airtime pop here. Then the launched airtime hill, which is doesn't really give any airtime, but it's just kind of okay. It's unique. It's not too great. Then into a pretty decent moment of floater here. It's alright, nothing too special though. Into the cutback, she has great hang time. Then you're going to come out of it and then go into a pretty intense turn here. It's your second vertical loop, which doesn't give as much hang time, but I'd say it's about as intense as the first one, so it's really fun. You go into possibly my favorite moment of the whole ride, and that's a Stangle Dive. It gives crazy whip and air time and just awesome laterals. It really throws you to a pretty intense turn. Then you go into some back-to-back turns here, which are really fun. These are definitely some of my favorite moments of the ride. Then you go into some little light helices, low-to-the-ground turns, which are pretty intense. They're fun. And then two airtime moments, which are really good. Then into the brake round sets, better for the layout. So talking about the pros of this ride, I think there are a couple things that this ride definitely does really well in, and that would definitely be the awesome hang time that this ride gives on the inversions, like the vertical loop, the first vertical loop, the cutback, the JoJo roll. Those are really fun. You get some great airtime moments too, some really strong pops of airtime, some whippy and intense turns in inversions. It does well with the theming, and just the fun factor overall is really good with this ride. It does a lot of things really well. It's also really smooth, and I need to mention those trains. Those Mack trains are so good. They're really comfortable. The seats are great. The restraints are really good. They're pretty much perfect trains to me, and they're well themed. So those are really good. It's got some salt theming, but it's just overall fun. It's not super intense or crazy or out of control, but it's just a nice fun ride, and it does a lot of things well. It is fairly long. It's one of the more fun coasters I've ridden. It's nice. I like the color scheme. The theme is kind of confusing, but it's definitely good. Like the theming on the queue is kind of weird. There's like a chair. There's like some trucks, and there's like beware of snake signs kind of outside the queue. which would make sense because, it's Copperhead Strike. But like the theming and the pre-launch is kind of weird, but it's overall pretty fun. The launches are okay, nothing too special, but it's overall just a pretty fun ride. It's fairly compact. It's just a lot of fun, hang time, air time, good laterals, some good positives, and just really fun. I'd say it's probably my third favorite definitely my third favorite coaster at Carowinds, behind I'd say behind definitely Afterburn and Fury, and it's one of the better launch coasters I've ridden. I'd say I prefer like Maverick, probably Top Thrill Dragster, and maybe Storm Runner. I'm not sure about that one though, but it's definitely a pretty fun ride. It might make my top 20. I'm not sure, but it's overall just really solid. It's a good addition to Carowinds and their first launch coaster, and it's just pretty fun. There's a lot of good elements. I actually got quite a few rides on this coaster too. I didn't mention that yet. I got 9 rides on it. I think I got several. I think 3 or 4 in the front, a couple in the back, and a couple in the middle. And I definitely did prefer front row. You definitely just get pushed through the elements a lot more. Back is a little bit better for some of those turns, those whippy turns at the end of the ride, which are really fun. But front is better for like on the other elements, like the Stangle Dive, the vertical loop, and just getting, unlike some of the other turns, like the turn after the cutback and whatnot. So yeah, both, I'd say all rows have their advantages, but front is definitely my favorite on this ride. And they will, depending on like what time of day you go, I guess, or how long the line is, they will assign you a row or not. If the line's like pretty long, like extending past the first queue house, they will assign you a row. But if it's not, then you'll just be able to pick your row. And this ride also has a really small station, which I just found kind of interesting, but it doesn't really need a big station. It's just kind of weird that it's such a small station. But overall, Copperhead Star is just a really good ride, and I think definitely Carowinds made a good choice by adding it. It's one of my favorite, well, I wouldn't say one of my absolute favorite coasters, but one of my, I guess, the better coasters I've ridden, one of the more fun coasters I've ridden. And it's just a lot of fun. It's got a lot of good elements. And I'd say it's good no matter what row you're riding in. But yeah, for a final score, I'm gonna give Copperhead Strike, I'd say solid 80 out of 100. It's really fun. It's it's just a good ride. Definitely exceeded expectations. A lot of the forces and airtime moments were better than I expected, but it's just nothing too special. But I'd definitely say it's a pretty good ride. So that'll be about it for my review of Copperhead Strike at Carowinds. Have you ridden Copperhead Strike yet? What are your thoughts on it? Make sure to put those in the comment section below, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye.